Would I be wrong if I went on vacation instead of my brother's wedding? My brother Tom, 36 male, and I, 26 female, have never had a really solid relationship. This is due to our age gap and the fact that we didn't spend much time together. And by the time I was old enough to develop a personality, he was moved out of the house. Well, for the last 2 years, my brother and his fiancée Sarah, 32 female, have been planning their wedding. It's coming up in September and I was asked to be a bridesmaid. I figured I was only asked as a courtesy since I'm her soon-to-be sister-in-law, but I still took it serious. I have been a bridesmaid for the last 2 years, and just a few weeks ago, I managed to save up to buy the $800 dress. Overall, in the last years, between the group outings to parties to dinners to lunches and clothes, I've spent thousands of dollars. And eventually, all the girls in the wedding and I became extremely close and I started getting hyped for the wedding. But Sarah recently got close with her brother's wife Becky, 30 female, and told me she wants her to be a bridesmaid instead. Would I be wrong if I go on vacation instead of my brother's wedding? It did break my heart a little, but it's her wedding and it's not my place to tell her how to run it, so I said it was fine. But I did go to my brother's house to pick up the bridesmaid dress and was going to see if I could return it. Sarah was completely appalled and said that Becky was going to wear it because she and I are the same size. I said that would be fine, but they'd have to pay me $800 for it. That's when Sarah said that Becky couldn't afford it and I should just be nice and let her use it and said I could keep it after the wedding. I explained I'm not just giving away the dress and I'm not ever gonna use it after the wedding. After some bickering back and forth, I ended up taking it and leaving. My brother and Sarah tried to compromise and said I could be the assistant flower girl and I felt offended. Then they offered $250 for the dress and once again I said no and returned it. I understand it's their wedding, but they're extremely disrespectful to me and I don't need to deal with it, so I'm not going to the wedding. Instead, I'm going to Miami. Am I wrong for kicking out my daughter's gay friend over accusations? My wife and I are in no way homophobic, but we have the same rule for all of our guests. So basically, my 15-year-old daughter has a friend who's lesbian. They've had many sleepovers and she's very polite. The two girls are very close, share the same bed, cuddle when they go to sleep, and are inseparable. Our youngest son, age 12, told us that our daughter was dating this said friend and he saw them kiss earlier that night. My wife later went to try and check up on the kids and say goodnight, but our daughter's door was locked. Now, I'm not gonna lie, y'all know I'm a lesbian. Back when I was young, yeah. And when my wife later went to try and check up on the kids and say goodnight, our daughter's door was locked. And when my wife knocked, it took a few minutes and panic before the door was unlocked. We have no issue with our daughter being into women, but we have the same rule for our oldest son. No females or anyone he's romantically interested in spending the night. Am I wrong for kicking my daughter's gay friend out over accusations? When my wife knocked, it took a few minutes and panic before the door was unlocked. We have no issue with our daughter being into women, but we have the same rule for our oldest son. No females or anyone he's romantically interested in spending the night. I had my wife drive the friend home, in which my daughter was really angry at me and accused me of being homophobic. She also said that I was kicking her friend out for no reason, and she's still angry. Top comment says, "You're not wrong, but boy, are you in a pickle. She's not gonna take this well, so maybe compromise somehow and invite the friend over for other activities and have some discussions." Another comment says, "Honestly though, this could have been handled better. I understand where you and your rules about sleepovers are coming from, but this is a big deal to your daughter. Stop thinking about it as your kid trying to break the rules and think about how you possibly found out something huge about your daughter. And she didn't even get the chance to tell you." Am I wrong for not telling my friends my party won't have alcohol? I don't know about you guys, but me and my friends definitely communicate this every single time if we'll be doing that or not, just so there's no miscommunication. I, 25 female, recently had a birthday and usually don't celebrate it, but 25 felt special. I work evenings, so I invited about 15 friends over for a Saturday afternoon, about 12 to 5-ish. Now, I don't drink because I can't mix my meds with alcohol, and my friends know this. I baked a cake, bought some candy, made nachos, bought some chips, and bought an assortment of sodas that I know my friends like. I also set out some games to play in groups like Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros, and some board games. That sounds like so much fun. Then I invited my friends and let them know it's just an informal get-together to chill. They all seemed excited, but they seemed disappointed when they got there and there wasn't any alcohol. Some were even upset, and one texted me after to say it was rude. And that same friend hasn't spoken to me since. Am I wrong for not telling my friends my party won't have alcohol? They seemed disappointed when they got there and there was no alcohol. Some were even upset, and one of them texted me after to say it was rude not to tell them beforehand. Whew, that is not a real friend. Now, I don't drink. It's not something I consider to be a need for a get-together, and I didn't even think of it. But several of my friends were upset, with one of them being downright angry. Edited to add that I guess to my friends party equals alcohol, so they were expecting it. I honestly didn't think they'd want to drink in the early afternoon and fully associate alcohol with evening. And I definitely would have let them know beforehand if I knew they wanted it. And yes, I know now, I'm planning on letting them know if I don't serve alcohol in the future. Are you kidding me? So it seems like original poster is basically saying that they understand they were kind of wrong for not letting them know. F that, if they want a bottle, bring your own bottle. If you get there and there's no alcohol, get your butt up and go get some alcohol. Like, what am I hearing? Am I wrong for locking my girlfriend inside for her own good? So my 22 male girlfriend, 21 female, has a bit of wanderlust. I'm almost positive she has some form of ADHD because she's incredibly forgetful and at times careless. She'll do things like leave her purse, books, phone, and at times keys in the car. Or she'll boil an egg on the stove and only remembers once the water has completely evaporated and it's burning. She always talks about how she'll get around to getting diagnosed and medicated but never does, and apparently she's been like this her whole life. Anyways, we recently moved in together to a house that belonged to my grandmother, but we both pay utilities, tax, and bills. It's been really great, honestly, except for these little problems. The major issue right now is that at times she will leave through the back door in the middle of the night on walks, and she'll be gone for hours. We've had disagreements about this multiple times in the past where I told her it's dangerous and unsafe. Am I wrong for locking my girlfriend inside for her own good? So my girlfriend will leave the house in the middle of the night on walks and be gone for hours. She will leave around 1 to 2 a.m. to walk around our rural neighborhood for hours at a time. Sometimes even when her phone is on low battery, and I have no idea why she does it. She told me it's exercise and that she enjoys the solitude, but it makes me uncomfortable. I just worry about what could happen in the middle of the night with no one around, and she doesn't appreciate me coming with her too much. Worse yet, she'll leave the back door unlocked because she still hasn't gotten her own set of keys. So it's up to me to readmit my wayward girlfriend every few nights. So I've decided to draw my line and refuse to unlock the back door and had it locked from both ends, so she's forced to use the front door for her trips. But now she's incredibly frustrated and she's calling me controlling. I don't think I'm wrong when she refuses to behave like a literal sensible adult. Am I wrong for refusing to pay for my daughter's wedding because she won't let me walk her down the aisle? I'm a 48-year-old man, and my 19-year-old daughter has always been an independent thinker. I raised her to be independent and to think for herself, which I've always appreciated. However, we recently hit a bit of a snag. So she got engaged and decided that she doesn't want me to walk her down the aisle. She has stated that her mother and I don't own her, therefore we have no right to give her away. I feel hurt by this because we never treated her like an object or a piece of property. Rather, we've tried our best to provide her with a wonderful life. I find her stance to be extreme, and despite our discussion, she's refusing to budge on the issue. I do respect her choices, but I feel like she's disregarding our feelings completely. So as a response, I told her if she feels that way, I won't be paying for her wedding. I don't want to come across as controlling or manipulative, but by her logic, if I don't own her, I don't owe her. At least not a fully funded wedding. Am I wrong for refusing to pay for my daughter's wedding because she won't let me walk her down the aisle? My daughter feels like her mother and I don't own her, therefore we don't have the right to give her away. I respect her choices, but I feel she's disregarding our feelings completely, so as a response, I told her I won't be paying for her wedding. I'm not trying to be controlling or manipulative, but by her logic, if I don't own her, I don't owe her a fully funded wedding. She can pay for her own wedding if she's insistent on this stance. The edit says this isn't about making the wedding about me. It's about her attitude. She's had every opportunity in life so far, and to exclude us from this day is a spit in the face. It just feels like a rejection of everything we've done for her, sacrificed for her, given her, and it feels selfish. 90% of wedding traditions and symbolism had roots in things we don't acknowledge today. Should we stop all of them? The rings, the flowers, the dress, the wedding party, the cake, the flower girls? A father walking his daughter down the aisle is about respect, pride, and love. Am I wrong for having house rules for my stepdaughter? So my husband, 42 male, and I, 33 female, have his daughter, 11 female, for a week. I'm fine with it and have zero problem with her being here. Her mother works full-time and so does her brother, and she's too young to stay alone all day. The issue came about today when I laid down basic house rules for her while she's here. I don't think they're unreasonable, but my husband and my stepdaughter thinks they are. Here they are. 1. No electronics after 11 p.m. That means no laptop, no tablet, switch, anything like that. She can have a movie on for bed, but I set the timer and take the remote or she'll stay up all night. Number 2, awaken out of bed by 11 a.m. or she'll sleep all day. Number 3, 3 hours maximum on her tablet each day. Number 4 is she can't stay in her room all day. Number 5 is she has to help clean up after dinner, meaning putting away the dishes. And 6, practice basic hygiene. Am I wrong for having house rules for my stepdaughter? Number 6 is to practice basic hygiene because she's in the part of puberty where she doesn't want to shower or brush her teeth. That's it. That's literally it. But apparently I'm being too harsh because it's summertime. I've also spoke with her mom and she completely agrees with me about the rules. And she said she has the same exact ones at her house, so I'm not sure why I'm being met with so much pushback from my husband and the child. And just for some extra clarity, when I spoke with her mother, my husband was in the room and I had her mother on speaker, so he heard the whole conversation. He initially agreed to help enforce the rules, but changed his stance at the stepdaughter's first tantrum. Also, we've been married for 5.5 years, and these were not set out as spite, they were set for consistency. And again, her mom has the exact same rules set at her house, so I'm just confused. Top comment says, I am confused, these are extremely basic house rules.